No one better than me. Each and every one. We are born to be free. We are born to be free. Yes, we are. Woo. We are born to be free. Oh, free. Oh, free. I was born. Oh, I was born to be free. I was born to be free.
There's definitely positivity around. Just start.
Hello, everybody. It's very quiet. All right. Welcome to Pranary. Okay, we can do better. This is where in school the rights can do better. Welcome to Pranary. Yes, thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Sandras Phiri. I'm the CEO and founder of Pranary. Pranary is a practical business school and entrepreneur community across Africa, and we're also in a few other places in Europe and the USA. So this is super, super cool. We've got people joining us live right now in Cape Town. Hello, Cape Town. Yes. And we also have people joining us in Johannesburg. Hello, Joburg. And the Joburg people are in one place there. Then we also have people joining us in Lusaka. Hello, Lusaka. And then we have people joining in from Kigali, Rwanda. Hello, Kigali, Rwanda, Muraho. And then we also have people joining in from Nairobi, Kenya. Hello, hello, hello. Habari. Fantastic. So we're super excited today. We are hosting two amazing individuals who are going to share a lot of knowledge around tech innovation, hardware startups, as well as something super cool around mining tech. And but before we do that, I'd like to just thank our sponsors, PayFast. PayFast makes all of this possible. And then we also say thank you to our sponsors here in Cape Town, Workshop 17, that's where we are right now, as well as thanks to our drink sponsor, Surf Fruit. Super, super cool. So a big hand for all our sponsors, please. And as we are growing, we'd like to invite other sponsors for specific cities and also global sponsors. That would be super, super cool. So we are looking for new sponsors. All right. Now, for the event today, right, I'd like to introduce, we got really two special guests. And the first one is the legend, Nick Allen. Nick started Savant Capital. It's the only tech hardware startup accelerator or tech hardware accelerator in Africa. So a lot of times it's easy to build software, but to build hardware stuff, that's super hard. That's why we don't have a lot of people doing it. Right? But he's been doing it for a super long time, and then moved on from like just running that accelerator incubator to actually starting Savant Capital, where now on top of that, you get funding to help you build out your tech. And Savant invests and also incubates in early stage startups that are looking at building physical tech startup products. Then the other guest, another legend, this man has got 4 degrees. Like, you were not happy with one. His name is Phiri. He is the principal at Savant Capital. Really super knowledgeable entrepreneur with a lot of experience from India and Africa, working with different startups in different sectors. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to get up on your feet and give a warm round of welcome to Nick and Sahil. Right, we're going to be sharing the microphone, so you can sit right in the middle. Great. Welcome to Pranary, Nick.
Thanks for having us. Did you break it or not? No, it's working.
But you're the hardware person, so you're going to fix it.
Great to be here. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you very much, and welcome to Hill. Really great to have you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So we'd just like to start with you, Nick, but we start really from the beginning, but way back, in the beginning, there was nothing. But instead of going that far back, we just start from where you come in. Where did you grow up?
Wow, do you want to go that far back? I'm a South African, born and bred. A very passionate South African, very much enthusiastic and devoted to building this country to what it can be. I've always been very interested in building things that you can really see the outcome of what you've done. To achieve that, I had 2 choices when I finished school. I was thinking about becoming a farmer and growing things, or becoming a civil engineer and building things. But my brother got ahead of me and became a farmer, so I decided to become a civil engineer. I spent a few years building things, and I got a little bit bored and wanted to stretch my wings a bit. And so I studied a bit more, did a bit of IT, and ended up working for a life sciences incubator here in Cape Town. Interestingly enough, called Acorn Technologies. And spent a couple of years working with really amazing biotech and medical device innovators, and seeing that this country's full of innovators that have got really fantastic innovations, not just in that space, but in a much broader space. And that's where the vision and the opportunity of Savant really came from. So that was. The time at Acorn Technologies was 2002 to 2004. So that kind of gives how far back it's been.
Yeah, 2002, I just got my first degree, just one. Right?
Come on, you just keep going then.
Right. And okay, and Sahil, tell us about your background, your growing up. tell us about that and
Sure.
the journey up to.
I think it's working, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, from my face and my accent, I'm born and brought up in India, and I born in a very small city near to Delhi. But most of my life I spent in Delhi.
Can you put your mic closer?
Most of my life I spent in Delhi, and I did my undergrad in computer science. So I come from a tech background, and the 4 years of that life made me think a lot about what I want to do in my life. And at the age of 20, something like that, I was like, I think I want to go to work with the United Nations or something like that. So I enrolled in my first master's, which was immediately after my undergrad, which was human rights. And I think I realized while doing that I don't want to work because there's no money there. But I use that as understanding to understand business better. And what happened is that I started working with a bunch of other startups in Delhi. So I first worked with logistic tech, then I worked with the medical tech, health tech, then I worked with e-commerce. E-commerce was my own, which was more into launched a brand name called Mechanic Cart back then. So that was before I came to South Africa in 2020. While doing the whole thing, I think human rights helped me to understand the source of problem, that we all entrepreneurs solving some problems, but the problems coming from is people and society and community, which I think I think back, that's the value I get from that. And then I further ended up doing MBA from University of Cape Town, which is right behind. So I think I spent a lot of time here, and also did master's in software engineering. So I think that combining all together, it helps me understand the people side of it, business side of it, and tech side of it, which is make me more comfortable when I talk to an entrepreneur, because I can empathize. Now sitting in this side where I'm talking to an entrepreneur to see if through Savant, how can I help you? So would more like to empathize on that side, that I've been there, I know what it feels like. So I think, yeah, this is what I've been busy with now, working with Savant, trying to scale Savant in Pan Africa if possible.
Fantastic. And you were saying that from your face and from your accent, we can tell you from India. You could also be from Durban.
I don't speak Zulu.
Good one. So I know like the Indian ecosystem is really well developed. Me and Lele spent some time in Mumbai and spent some time in Delhi, and then went as far as Agra, of course, to the Taj Mahal. But I think one of the things that I saw was that as entrepreneurs, when we go to the US, or we're always looking to the US to say, okay, let's just copy from what's happening in Silicon Valley. And I spent a few times, I've been there a few times, but find that there's a big jump between what's happening there and what would work there. And if you transplant that into Africa, but finding that it's actually closer if we copy from India to move things here. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Sahil, about some of the similarities and some of the opportunities?
Wow, I mean, this topic is so close to my heart, and wherever I go, first thing I talk about is exactly this thing. So here's my human rights come in. Okay, so as I told you, so understanding society, understanding people gives you outlook of what kind of problems they are, and startups are solving these problems, right? So if I think about Western societies, US societies, they are more individualistic in nature. Independent societies and independent personalities, that kind of stuff. But think about India, it's more collective in nature. It's family is important. There's still big family living together. It's still like after marriage, people living with parents. You won't find it maybe in US or Europe. So if you see the way the people are living together, the community is coming together. So the problems might not be the same, but similar. So if you're thinking about Africa, it's still like family is so freaking important. Like, I talk to people, they're big families. I went to Kenya, and like my friend has around 9 cousins.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's my wife's friend, my wife's sister's birthday today, and she made a post like there are like the whole family, like 27. So it is a big family. I come from a family of 10, but for me it's like same mother, same father, 10 of us. So yeah, you're right. Continue.
So see, just a very small example. If you're ordering from online, if you are a small family, you receive an order at your door gate, right? So it will be either you or your wife maximum, or maybe your a small kid. But if you living with such a big family, 10 people in a house, you're ordering something, they don't even have an idea that you have ordered something. So the whole experience also in itself changes when we think about the community. Hence, when I see this, there's similarities between India and, I wouldn't say same, but similarities between India and Africa. And I think that's why a lot of things just can be replicated. So I have a rule for what a startup can work. So first thing is that if something has worked in US, also worked in India, I think that will definitely work in Africa. But if something has worked in India, there's good chances that something that can work also in Africa. The third thing is that if something has worked in US, I don't guarantee that it will work in Africa. So this is, I think, is my perception about that.
Fantastic. And now coming back to Savant, like what have you done? What do you think is critical in how you build out a hardware accelerator or hardware incubator? Like why don't we have a lot of those?
Look, you can have the business plan from start to finish. The simple answer is that it is hard. I mean, building hardware. I mean, I bumped into a couple of people earlier, and building hardware is that added complexity on top of everything else that goes into building a startup business. It's not a multiplication. It's a power factor, and a significant power factor of complication in building hardware technology businesses, and then trying to support those hardware technology businesses. There are easier things to do. There needs to be a lot of passion. There needs to be a very long road. I mean, we started Savant in 2004, and it's been a journey, like a proper journey, and we've seen one or two other people come up through the woodwork from through the years, and not last long in doing pure hardware, because it takes a long time for things to reach fruition. And in addition to that, there's been very little funding for hardware locally, and that still remains a challenge. But yeah, I mean, if you look at hardware technology incubators working in other parts of the world, they have been able to tap into funding streams or funding sources much earlier in the process. Those are part of the reasons that nobody else really wants to play in the space. I think you'll find incubators out there that'll do predominantly software, that does a little bit of hardware, but yeah, it is easier, faster to market, and easier to demonstrate progress and traction and track record if you're doing software. I think that's that applies to the incubator as well as the startup. So that I think is one of the reasons. And I think about the years of really slogging to help businesses get to somewhere. Maybe it's just like a pig-headed determination not to be proved wrong.
Because I think you answered my next question, because I was about to say, like, why do you keep doing it?
Because I enjoy it. It's fun. I think, I mean, if there's going back to becoming a civil engineer and building roads and bridges in my years as a civil engineer, it gives me immense satisfaction to see something that I've been part of building. And I suppose early on, we were very fortunate in that we worked with some companies that did extremely well in taking fantastic products to the market. Snoozer and Leot are two businesses that have done really well, and I lean on them a lot because they've done great things. And
could you tell us a little bit about those? Like,
so Snoozer is an apnea monitor for infants, for babies. It's sold in the US as a parenting device, so not as a medical device, because it's a parenting device, and it basically if your baby doesn't breathe, it alarms. And it's a top movement monitor for babies in the world, and it's done extremely well. And Leot started off their business with a neck brace for motocross, and has built it into $100 million a year business.
Wow!
Selling everything, protective equipment into the motocross and sports with wheels, I suppose, is the area that they work in. But they managed to get traction of their businesses at a point where they well, I suppose it's for me at a really relatively early stage. There, you work with these businesses when there's nothing going, there's nothing there, and eventually you get to a point where they've got a product that's gone onto the market, that you see it on the shelf, and then starts going out, and you're getting letters back from people who said, "Your product saved my baby's life," or "Your product saved my husband fell off his motorbike, and your product saved his life." And that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. So those are the kinds of things that I'm there for, to build products and businesses that make a difference.
Brilliant. And so I guess the next question now is like, what do you look for? So a lot of people come like, "Oh, I got an idea, I got an idea, I got an idea." What do you consider, like, for somebody to get into Savant? What are the things they should demonstrate?
Ideas are great. It's a good start. But obviously we want to see your ability to translate your idea into something real, and because we work with real things, we like to build companies that build products. It's about translating or demonstrating your ability to translate that idea into something tangible and real. That is, you need to be able to demonstrate that you've taken that first step. It's easy to say, "Well, I've got this great idea, please can you take it to market for me?" We do get a lot of that. You need to be able to demonstrate that you've got the wherewithal, particularly as a very starting point, to be able to build what it is you've envisaged. And so at the same time, we work with people that have walked into our offices with a wooden model. And now we've got the one particular business that we're working with that's gone from this wooden model to this 15 million rand piece of equipment that is working and demonstrating its abilities in the fields around South Africa at the moment. And it's been a long journey, but we're willing to work with people that have taken the step to demonstrate what they're doing. There needs to be that commitment, that investment from the other side as a starting point.
Let's see. And to use here with now, like being principal at Savant Capital, what are you looking for specifically in the market, in the region, on the continent? What type of opportunities or what type of sectors are you looking?
So from Savant perspective?
Yes.
So Savant currently is quite focused on South Africa at this moment, but we do have a plan. But for now, I think from South Africa perspective, what we're looking, so we recently started a program, a Savant Build program in the partnership with Sibenya Stillwater. Nick will tell more about it, but briefly about it. In that, we are specifically looking for startups who coming from either agri-tech, clean tech, circular economy, any those kind of thing which have hardware element to it, but doesn't have to be, because we, through the mining side of it, is there any startup who's creating value in the mining and minerals value chain? So it can be, for instance, for argument's sake, a data or machine learning model to optimize mining operations, because there's a lot of data sitting in the silos. So we're actively looking in that. On the mining side, we are further looking at like green hydrogen. We are also looking at water treatment plants. So very, very varied in terms of what we are looking for. I think because there's no one else who is really tapping there, like with a specific focus. So I think there's a lot of support needed for those startups. So that's why we are now also discussing and strategizing a lot that which exact specific sector we should look for. But when I start to restrict ourselves, we realize more and more that then when we are leaving them behind and there's no one else to support. So how do we really tackle this problem? So I think that's why for now, when you think about hardware and this, especially early stage, hardware specifically is a little bit more capital intensive. They need more support than a software. So I'm coming from a software background. I think work with a hardware tech incubator and a fund is a privilege, because I haven't seen that side of the world. Because for us, I would just hire a developer within my thing, and if I have an idea, I ask him to code for 1 month, and I'm done. I just need a MEC. I don't need a VC to support me at this stage. But if you think about the hardware, definitely needed. So I think that's where we are trying to focus on.
I see. And then when it comes to now coming back to tech innovation, I see that universities have a lot of those, and they get paid for spending money on patents, registering patents, registering like a lot of things. But I've got my own view on that. Like, should we spend more money on registering patents, or should we spend money on actually teaching people how to build useful stuff that people would actually use?
This could get into a long and difficult discussion, but look, I do think that some of the universities generally have, put an emphasis and incentivize their researchers and their profs to file patents. And we patents are great, but patents don't make money. Businesses make money, and it's often the businesses that we work with are successful in areas outside of the original patents that we invest in and build them on. So I think that, further to your idea, that yes, absolutely, we need to spend more money on actually taking businesses to market rather than spending that money on patents that keep patent lawyers happy. But yeah, I think that it is a bit of a mindset. Your universities need to work out, and they are getting better at it. There's room to improve, but universities are getting better at realizing that their tech needs to go out into the market and not sit on the shelf. And we're very keen to do more deals coming out of universities. And we do work in the South African environment with the University Technology Fund.
Yeah.
We're looking at a couple of deals with them at the moment. So yeah, absolutely. University tech is a real opportunity and it's a real need to get that tech out into the South African and international market.
Yeah, I agree, because I see that there is a lot of incentive, exactly like you said, but that is like just register it and done. Yeah. And then thinking, let's put it on the marketplace, and people will just come like,
put it on a shelf, shall we?
Yes.
I've got my points for filing a patent. That's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the more efforts around. We come from Pranary, for instance, we help entrepreneurs to raise money. But again, to your point of, you need to have some traction. You need to show that you're moving. And then on the investor side, they're actually investing in businesses, not just pure ideas. And so then some of the different governments would say, oh, we got lots of these patents. Could you just get investors to buy patents or to buy ideas?
Who's going to run that business?
Exactly.
That's fundamentally, everybody here knows it. Everybody hears it. Business's success is based on the ability of its team. So I do think, to that point, is that we do believe that businesses, tech businesses that have got strong intellectual property, not necessarily patents, but strong intellectual property, strong barriers to entry, and strong competitive advantage, are far more resilient than businesses that don't. So they can spend a long time trying to find their product market fit and still be successful. They can, go a certain way down the road with a not very strong business person or as an inventor, an innovator, as their entrepreneur to start with, and then take it on from there. The point is, these businesses are more resilient. If you've got a strong piece of technology, your business is going to be more resilient. So it's more attractive to invest in. Absolutely.
We're going to take questions from the audience, and then we'll take questions also from the people joining us online and the people joining us from the different cities. I think you can post your questions on the YouTube live stream, and then we'll get the questions here. And so what advice would you have for people working on tech innovations and got mining tech ideas, or they're working? So beyond the ones who are at idea stage, but these people are actually working, like, what advice do you have for them to move forward?
First things first, get onto our website. We've got a program that we're running at the moment, the Savant Build program, where we're looking for early stage innovations to take them through an investor readiness program. It's a it's a 4-month program where we're going to work with our innovators, help them build their business to the point that's going to make them investable, both from us, from our partners, Sibanye Stillwater, IXS, particularly in the mining space and the green tech space, but then also for other investors out there. So that's the first step that I suggest you do. If you've got some interesting technology, that go and have a look at what we're doing there. We're very keen to see some more opportunities come our way there. I think that hardware is a multifaceted challenge. So one of the things you really should be looking at is building your team. So if you haven't got a team, go and find people. You'll be really brutal with your self-analysis and what your strengths and weaknesses are, understand what they are. Go and find people who are going to complement you and build that team, because that's really what we're looking for as an investor and as an incubator.
Fantastic.
So first thing which came to my mind is a little bit in contradictory with hardware, because then my software mind comes in the picture. So first thing is that even if you have a startup idea, and then you can just start doing it. So start running it manually. You don't have to really wait for even from the software perspective, wait for the whole product to come in. So start manually, and from the day one, if possible, have a net profit business. Start getting revenue in, and that's very important, traction. And then tech can follow, product can follow, investors can follow. Everything can follow if you have that. So one thing is that. Second thing is network. You can have the most amazing thing sitting in the garage, but if no one knows about it, no one can fund it. So go out. Go out and talk. It helps. Talking helps. So I think that's what I would say.
Fantastic. You do it manually until it hurts. Because a lot of people just like, oh, I'm building an app. Can you fund my app? Like, people don't fund the apps. What does the app do? Right? Like, you're funding specific solutions. Like, okay, great. And then talk to people. And there is also the idea that
Talk to your customer.
Talk to your customers. Get feedback from your customers.
Know who your customer is.
It's really good. And continue with those. What else?
Be prepared for a long, hard slog. It's I think further to your point, you start, get going, and be committed. Go do the hard yards. It's going to be a long, hard journey that is very rewarding at the end. You got to realize that it is going to be very rewarding, but you need to be persistent. You need to be around for the long haul.
Fantastic. We're going to take questions. Any questions from the audience here in Cape Town? And let's check if there are any questions from. Great. Thanks, Owen. You have to get the mic and. Okay, it's fine. You can just say, then I can repeat for the people who are watching live. It's fine. We use that. No, because we'll have to repeat for the people watching. All right.
So if you have a revenue generating business, so you've gone through the initial incubation phase, you have a revenue generating business that is self-funded. Now you want to go to the next phase and you want to get some investment on an investor on board. Firstly, there's challenges around, and I'm sure everyone in the room can relate with regards to value. How much do you ask for? What do you give away? How do you protect yourself?
Cool. It's a loaded question, but saying if you got the question from Owen is that if you got a business that's already making money, is generating revenue, and you now want to raise investment, how do you value a business and how much money do you ask for? How much equity do you give away? How do you protect yourself? Like investors are going to take your business.
It's the questions that we battle with at every single investment committee meeting. How much is this business worth? And you've done, the kind of first step that we wish a lot of our companies would do, which is getting to revenue and building a business that is real, having customers that are paying for it. So that's a fantastic first step, and you're in a very strong negotiating position because of it. How much do you need? that's the question of where do you want to go? That's what you've got to decide. How much money do I need? How fast do I want to get to where I want to go? You need to build your models, to understand how quickly you want to go and where you want to go, and then decide how you want to cut that up into bite-sized pieces, because the chances are you're not going to be able to do it all at once. So you want to do, don't go out and say, okay, I need 200 million rand to do the following things, or I need $100 million. Go out and say, I'm going to go from A to Z, but I'm going to start by going from A to B. So I need, $3 million to go from A to B, and then go, when the point there is when you're at point B, you're going to be significantly more valuable than you are at point A. So you're going to give away a lot less equity, raising the next 30 million rand to go from point B to point F, for example. So, you'll give away your whole business if you raise too much money at an early stage. How do you value your business? That's ultimately always a factor of the market, and how keen people are to invest in what you're doing. So there's no answer. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It really is all about finding that investor that is aligned with your goals and outcomes, and persuading them that your business is valuable as you think it is. Sorry, that's probably not a straightforward answer that you're looking for.
So if I could just respond, sorry, with regards to that process, that development process that needs to happen, would an organization such as yours take one along that journey in terms of breaking down who we are from stage 1 to stage 2, stage 3, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we certainly would do. And there are, particularly if you've got a software solution, there are a lot of other people doing great things around the country on the software side of things. So yeah, there's advice you'll get out there without a doubt.
Yeah. I'd like to add that we have that free course on pranary.com. So you just go to pranary.com. Then you look for under programs. We've got one on creating your investor pitch deck. So we take you step by step on how you create your problem, your solution, your products, your revenue, everything, your competition, your ask, and what you say, what you don't say, right? And exactly like a lot of times people say right now, like Lele got a request yesterday saying, somebody said, my business is making, or I raised $25,000. Now I want to raise 1 million. You're like, like that's a big jump, right? And we had somebody come to say, I'm trying to raise $10 million. Like, wow, how far have you done so far? No, I just have an idea.
That's the best time to raise a $10 million. Great round.
Cool. All right.
From the long way, we've got a question saying, what have been some of your biggest failures?
So there's a question from Lilongwe, Malawi. And the question is, what have been some of your biggest failures?
Gee, that's also going to be a long conversation.
We're here all night, don't worry.
Gee, could get quite personal as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, look, we've worked with a lot of businesses that haven't made it for various reasons, and I feel every failure. I feel I take it quite personally. So that's and again, looking back over many years and going, if that opportunity and that question was put to me today, I would have answered it differently. I would have helped this company differently. So the experience that we've had over 20 years of doing this, you go, okay, it's a little bit of a cringe. But I think in particular, I think in several occasions, in several instances where people have had opportunities in front of them and have turned them down because they felt that there were better opportunities down the line. Those for me are the biggest failures, because you need to play what's in front of you, particularly in this environment that we're in. It's a difficult environment with not a lot of opportunities in the hardware funding space in particular. And if you have opportunities, you need to work as hard as you can to make sure that those opportunities may happen.
Fantastic. Great. Another question there.
So it's a startup and I'm new to product that I want to that I want to produce. I can't choose one company data to find what label do you consider me as giving fund or advice and how to do it. Before starting an idea, it comes to the level of prototype or what KPIs do you look at to say this business you can consider doing, you can consider waiting first.
Cool.
And the second question, what industry besides the mining are you interested in?
Great. So the question is, what do you look for in a startup? So you kind of, I think you answered it earlier, but you could repeat.
Yeah.
What do you look for? It's got an idea, is working on something. What do you want to see before they can get admitted into Savant?
Yep.
And then the other question is,
What do we do besides mining?
yes.
Yeah. But okay. So the mining angle is we have a working a partnership with Sibanye Stillwater through their IXS program, which we've co-developed with them. But it is only one angle of what we do at Savant, and it's a very new initiative. And in addition to that, the Sibanye Stillwater IXS program is not, we're not just looking at mining. We're looking at everything around mining. We're looking at communities around mining, and we're looking also at the broader strategy of the Sibanye Group, which is around renewable energy. It's around circular economy. So we're very happy to look at businesses that are very broadly around the mining industry in the Sibanye Stillwater IXS program. But from a Savant perspective, we look at any hardware. We really do. We have areas that are more interesting than others. We've done a lot of med tech. We do like renewable energy, etc. Some of those buzzwords. But space tech. We've just invested in a space tech business. So we're happy to look at a lot of hardware. We don't, don't be put off by or thinking that we're not going to look at your hardware because it doesn't fall in a particular category. We'll certainly look at it. What do you need to bring to us to get into various areas? Again, we need to see dedication. We need to see that you have the ability to translate your technology into reality. You're welcome to come to us at a very early stage where we will then be able to decide how we can assist you, whether we can assist you, whether it's the case of, yes, we can help this entrepreneur go from this stage to being investor ready, or we feel that we need to find a funding mechanism that's going to help them. So besides Savant Venture Fund, which is without a doubt the earliest stage hardware fund in South Africa, or pretty much the earliest commercial fund in South Africa. Besides that, we've got our IXS program, also putting money into businesses at a very early stage. And in addition to that, we've also got a partnership with the Technology Innovation Agency through their seed fund program, where we invest again at a very, very early stage. So we have several funding mechanisms available to us, again, at the early stage. At the moment, unfortunately, only in the South African space, but as Sahil alluded to, watch the space. We have the goals and ambitions to take this model up into Africa. We're very keen to see what we can do further on the continent.
Fantastic. We've got great minds in Zambia. Any other questions?
From Nairobi, we have how difficult was it to convince partners and investors to get into hardware when everybody's going to something?
Wow, very. Yeah, it's been a very long, hard journey to persuade people, investors, that hardware is a space to get involved in. There are, maybe I shouldn't say this live on air, but there are easier ways to make money. I mean, there's no doubt. But then again, there are easier ways to make money than venture capital as a whole.
Than entrepreneurship as well.
Than entrepreneurship, absolutely. But I think when we finally found the right investor to start that ball rolling in the SASME fund, who realized that we were playing a role in building businesses that build physical products, that needed people to build physical products, that created jobs, that made a difference. They realized that there was a real need for what we were doing, and they came to the party. So, but it was a long, hard journey. But on the back of their investment, we were able to bring out a couple of other investors on board. So we needed to get that first that first visionary investor across the line. But it's the same as any startup. You need to demonstrate that there's opportunity and find the right investor.
Brilliant. So to the entrepreneurs, investors also need to raise money. So they're also pitching, and they also need to show traction, and they also get rejected.
A lot.
All right. Any other questions, like last questions? Last questions from here. Okay. Whoa. Last question. All right. You can go first, and then we'll take all the questions. But just make sure the questions are straight to the point. You can go.
I'm interested in what an investor must figure out necessarily. Is it always an investment in exchange for a percentage of the business, or is there sometimes another scenario?
Sometimes, but you'll need to find a very special investor. It depends on what type of risk they're taking. If I'm taking equity type risk, as in my downside is unlimited, so I can lose all my money, I want to have my upside unlimited. So if you can come along and say, I tell you what, I need R1 million investment into my business. But I tell you what, I'll put my R1 million house as surety. Then you can ask for debt. But if the exactly. So the question is, who's the investor? Is it a commercial investor? Is the downside unlimited? If my downside is unlimited, I don't want to limit my upside. I think that's, yeah. So yes, equity 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100.
That's fantastic. Shanae.
The key factors we considered in choosing my team. Wow. It's a very good question.
Why did you choose Sahil?
So I've members of my team that have been around for a very long time, and yeah, we've got a great team that helps us build the kind, or brings the skill sets that we don't necessarily have to the party, and that's what Sahil's bringing. Sahil's bringing a different angle. We're finding that hardware businesses aren't hardware businesses anymore. They're hardware businesses with software attached to them. We don't see very much in the way of hardware that doesn't have software attached. So as a starting point, Sahil brings that software angle to the equation. So that's really necessary. So building a team is looking around the room and saying, what don't we have? How do we bring that additional capability into the team? And that's not just from, these are the degrees that I have, but what are the personality types like? What personalities do we need to grow the business? And that's what any entrepreneur should be doing, is understanding how they build a team that's going to bring capacity and components to the party that others don't.
Brilliant. Nani.
Hi. So my question is actually very simple. How do you build and maintain relationships with the key players of the target market you want to tap into?
Very good question, and something that we haven't been as good as we should do, as should have been over the years. You've got to participate. You've got to be there all the time. You've got to understand who the players are, and you've got to engage with them on a more regular basis. And that's something that we as a Savant team need to get better at. And it's about engaging, being in the space, being in your environment, and doing it on a regular basis. So that's something that any company can always do better at.
Great.
From Sandra, a question for Sahil. Do you believe that the potential for technology hardware that comes from Africa to be usable or exportable to you?
The question for Sahil from Lusaka, not that Sahil is from Lusaka. The question from Lusaka for Sahil, that do you believe that hardware or tech that's built in Zambia or Africa, do you think it could go to India, be exported there?
Very interesting question, but I think absolutely. So few basic things. So I was in Nairobi 2 weeks back, and there was a conference called India Africa Entrepreneurship Forum. And there we specifically talk about the tech transfer from India to Africa and Africa to India. So that was a forum where we bringing entrepreneurs together onto one platform and see how we can do it. But apart from doing that, even though we provide a platform to achieve that, so there are some real facts. So in India side, the real facts is that if you think about one idea, there will be 50 and 100 other people doing the same thing. But that's not the case here. So first of all, if you are going there, so your tech has to be mature enough to go there and able to compete. First thing is that. The second thing is, to be able to go there, I think the best approach would be through collaboration with another one. So recently a health tech startup reached out to me from India that they can bring some specific features, skills on the software side on the other health tech startups in Africa. So I connected them to here, and now they're talking and seeing synergies. There's an example from Nairobi. There's a ride hailing app, used to be little from Nairobi, and they become a super app now. Like literally you can do anything on that app if you're in Nairobi. Now from the Nairobi, they have started their operations in India, in Ahmedabad side, Gujarat side, but I think different city. So yeah, there are examples like that. But I think right approach would be to have that network through some platforms and through collaboration.
Fantastic, great. And lastly, what final words would you have to the people who are joining us and the entrepreneurs? Like what final words would you have for them, Nick? And then
no pressure. What words? I think that if there's one piece of advice that all entrepreneurs really need to understand, is that this is a real journey, and it's a long, hard slog, but it is absolutely worth it in the end. You be prepared for it, but don't give up. I think that's the one piece of advice. It's a long, hard slog. Don't give up, because it is worth it in the end.
I think from my side, from my personal experiences, use your energy, your life force. So a lot of times, as an entrepreneur, I really wanted to give up. And of course, there are stories in your life which keeps you going on, but internally, you have to become strong internally in the end. So use a lot of life force from within and channelize that. There will be a lot of slaps will come in the journey from different people, from different market. But then if you have the life force, then you can handle those slaps. That would be, and patience comes with it. So both goes hand in hand.
Use your Pranary. Use your life force, use your chi.
And last thing is, Pranary runs this program. So I think once a startup go through the whole Pranary program, they can reach out to Savant.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you very much. A big hand for Nick and Sahil. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here in Cape Town, the people joining us in Johannesburg, people joining us in Nairobi, people joining us in Kigali and Lusaka and Lilongwe as well. And we're looking forward to more cities joining next month. And we got some announcements. So as Enigma Ventures, we've opened a call for applications for investments. So if you are a female-led business, apply. Go to enigmaventures.com, Enigma with a Y. The call is open. And then those of you who want to learn how to pitch, we got a free course on Pranary. And tomorrow we have our Pranary demo day. So you are invited to come and join. We have, I think, 3 companies that are pitching. So what's different is that it's not a competition. So we don't have judges. It's real investors that are looking for to make real investments. So when you join that, you learn the type of questions they ask. And they pretty much ask the same things, right? Because they want to just know, is my money safe with you? Will I make money? But they ask like 100 questions, just figure that out, right? And so that's what we've got. And then we've got a new program called Velocity. So Velocity is for existing businesses that already make money, but it's looking for growth. And this is not restricted to just pure startups. It could be SMEs, any type of business. We got the Velocity program, and that one is starting next month. But we are super excited. Join the Pranary community. If you don't know WhatsApp groups already, by all means, do that. Where have you been? Right? And then you will sure to invite other people, because we believe in just building a great community of game changers across the continent. We believe in what has been said, that collaborating. What I'm struggling with, Sahil just does. What he's struggling with, I just do. Just like that. And so a lot of solutions are in the different room right now. And then all the solutions also are in the group. So for instance, I was struggling with Airtable, just asked somebody like, oh yeah, I could do that for you. How much you pay? No, I did it in 3 minutes. Like, oh, cool, thank you. So that's the beautiful thing about all of this. And then if you need an accountant, you got Angela there. She's amazing. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. And now we're gonna go into networking. So wherever you are, talk to other people, share opportunities. So 2 things, talk about what you're offering. Like, what can you offer to other people right now? And then second question is what you're looking for. And what you're looking for, not money. We all are, and not customers, we all are, but something very specific that somebody in the room could give you. So if you're looking for somebody to help you with just looking over a contract, then it's like, oh yeah, he will help you, my legal counsel there. So that's what we're doing. So networking, we got another hour, which is super cool. Thank you very much, everybody. Cheers. That's cool. Yeah, thank you. And we're gonna take before you go in Cape Town, we're gonna take a picture, and everybody else just take lots of pictures wherever you are. Okay, lots and lots of pictures, share the pictures, tag us on social media at Pranary, #Pranary. And thank you. Let the party begin. Cool.
I can't move all of this right away, so I'll have to stand. I'll take it from there, this way.
So we should be here.
So not in front of the lights, over here, under this light.
Okay. I can't be in front of these lights. All right, let's take a picture before we go to the drinks. Let's come and take pictures.